Hi, I'm Laura Calder, and this is my husband, Peter. And we're answering questions from readers of my newsletter, which you can find at lauracalder.com, and I hope you'll subscribe. You in?
Yeah, I'm in. We felt bad about how we answered something last week about cooking for one, and we had a conversation about it. We think about you all the time. Well, what we realized is it's just incredibly inefficient to cook for one, and that's what makes it so hard. As you were just saying, if you can make soup for one, you can make it just as easy for 10.
Practically.
It really is the same amount of work to cook for one as it is to cook for 4.
A bit more chopping, but that's it. I thought we should give some examples of things you can make for one that are good.
One of the things that we love that is very nice for one person is a fried egg on asparagus.
You poach asparagus, you put it on the plate, you fry an egg on the asparagus, and you grate over Parmesan cheese. It's a full meal, fantastic, great for 1 or 2. Perfect lunch dish.
Perfect.
That chicken thighs is a great idea too.
Yeah, that's an amazing recipe. Bone in chicken thigh with the skin, you put it skin side down in a pan for like half an hour, and you never flip it. And you keep it on like medium-low heat.
Yeah. And
you get like almost like fried chicken.
Crunchy skin, almost like fried chicken.
Almost like fried
That and coleslaw. Perfect. Speaking of chicken, a lot of questions about food this week.
Mm-hmm. Tom Sparks asked for some good chicken breast recipes that don't require flour, egg, and dredging, but still have flavor. Over to you.
Oh, well, I often use thighs for sautés, but I also like the boneless, skinless chicken breast, because when you fry something for a sauté, it gets covered in the end anyway, so you get crisp skin for a second, then you cover it with the sauce and the skin's not crisp anymore. So you can use breast as well. You can make tarragon chicken in the creamy sauce. You can do chicken in vinegar, which is nice and tangy, maybe with tomatoes in it, really good. You could do a Moroccan flavored sauté and add things. So that's a great, simple, quick dish that feels like, you know, it's always more than the sum of its parts, and it feels like you've been taken care of. And you make a great chicken dish.
You wooed me with tarragon chicken.
Did I?
Oh, yeah.
You have to buy good chicken, because even that chicken I just said I loved so much. One time, I don't know, you just got chicken from the grocery store somewhere. It wasn't a very good piece. And it's dry. So we're pretty fussy about where we buy
a good
chicken.
Yeah. Okay.
Hope that helps a bit.
Someone asked you how to keep celery and how to keep green onions, because when you want 1 stick of celery, you have to buy a tree.
In France, you can buy a stick of celery. So convenient. Mind you, I think it lasts longer if you keep the head together. But it's true that if you're one person or even 2, a big celery thing is tricky. The person who wrote in said, what about tin foil? And I have read that keeps celery well, but I have a neighbor who's very into organic things and health, and she won't let tin foil touch food. And ever since she told me, I can't remember what the reason is, but anyway, now I don't do it anymore, ever. I think the main thing is to keep them, you don't want them wet and sitting in plastic or something, so just make sure they're dry, wrap them in a towel. This is true of green onions too. You can separate the white from the green, and then wrap it in a paper towel and put it in plastic in the crisper. And they'll last quite a long time, actually.
They do all right, yeah.
But the other thing I always think of when I go into the crisper and find a celery that's over, I think, why didn't I eat that? Because I like it. So, you know, I have a fantastic celery soup recipe. It makes really good soup. Just celery, you know, and I forget what the other ingredients are. I think there's an apple in it and something else. I also like, there's a good Simon Hopkinson thing where you stuff the celery with cream cheese and you put a little slice of jalapeno along it and cut it up for drinks. It's actually really good. I mean, it's retro, but...
You can do ants on a log. Is that
with raisins and peanut butter? Yes. For kids. What else do you make with celery? Sliced very thinly and added to salads. It just makes a salad that much more interesting.
Chopped up into a tuna salad or any kind of meat, you know, chicken salad or tuna salad.
Tuna salad also. Yeah. So just, I think we forget it's in the fridge. Oh, and another thing I love are the hearts of celery with a ton of leaves on them, sliced up and thrown raw with roasted potatoes. So good. And we throw it on duck breast with a sort of Asian sauce, and I throw the leaves and the sliced celery in there. It's so good and fresh tasting.
You often can't buy celery with those hearts or with those nice stalks. Actually, it's hard to find.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you get the outer leaves off, you find that heart of gold. Just remember it's there, I guess, is the main thing.
Well, we're going to do a plug now, but this is an unpaid sponsorship, by the way, but someone asked about making gluten-free pizza dough, which I do a lot, and I discovered this product at our local grocery store. This is not a paid advertisement, but this Caputo Fiore gluten-free.
Fiore Glut from Caputo.
From Caputo. The secret to this stuff is it's actually made from wheat starch. So if you can't tolerate wheat, you can't use this. But if you are gluten intolerant,
you can
absolutely use it. And they have a recipe on the side for the pizza. They make pizza differently in Italy in the sense that they suggest using the entire bag. You make enough pizza dough for a family of 12. It's got good instructions on the side. You follow them to the letter. You just cut back. You do half the recipe or even a quarter of the recipe is good for one pizza.
And it makes great pizza.
But the big problem with any gluten-free dough is as sticky as Elmer's glue. You have to roll the pizza out on a piece of parchment, and then when you cook it, put it on the parchment in the oven. Mm-hmm. You will not get it off the pan if you cook it directly in a pan.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
It makes a super crunchy crust, and maybe we even have a picture of one of your brilliant pizzas that we can show. But
please put a picture up.
Poof!
Did that work? Anyway, that's a good product. I mean, it saved my life. I also can make a nice loaf of white sandwich bread out of it, which maybe we'll share with you one day because it's really quite good.
Yeah, it's funny because it looks like a cake batter. You put it in a pan, it rises up like anything else, and it
turns into quite a nice loaf. Yeah, nice yeasty, lovely loaf.
The best we've had.
Yeah. So if you are gluten free, this stuff is
Caputo. Maybe you can get it online.
I think you can. Yeah. The caveat is it is made of flour, starch, wheat starch. So it's not for people who can't eat flour, but it does work for someone who is quite intolerant. I'm not celiac, but I am very intolerant of the consequences of eating anything with gluten. So, and this is fine. It's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that's it on food for this one. And we can talk about food again or about something else. So send in your questions either here below or to lauracalder.com. And while you're over there, please subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. It comes the first of every month, and it's there to cheer you up.
Ciao.